Hi, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for being with me here today for this video, which is going to be an old versus new showdown. That's right. I created each of these looks with a different palette, and I want to know if you can tell the difference. So let's get into the showdown. Today, I am going to create a look with my old Sultry palette versus my new Sultry palette. And I want to see if the eye look comes out different from each other. I want to see if the palettes perform the same and let you know whether or not the new one is as good as the old one. Here's the brushes I'm going to use. I've got doubles of each of these brushes that are all clean. These are the crucial minimum shapes required to create a really good look, and I've got one for each eye, so I'm ready to get into it now. I'm going to zoom you in really, really closely, and we're going to just focus on the eye. I have done a first impressions look with the mini Sultry already. If you haven't seen that video, check that out. It's up here. I'll link that up here in the eye, and down below in the description box, I'll have that there for you. But let's compare the palettes side by side. I do have a broken shade in my old one. Okay, so I'm going to be real careful. Here's what the palettes look like side by side. I'm only going to use the shades that are found in each palette. This palette, this larger ABH palette that I have here, I have had that since just before BoxyCharm and Ipsy merged, literally the week before. So whenever that happened, that's when I got this bigger palette. Because of Ipsy's horrible packaging, just putting it in a bubble wrapper and the US Post Office, so being the way that it is, my palette arrived with a shattered shade. So I'm really fortunate that that's all that was shattered. I'm going to use that shattered shade because I don't have the white matte in the other minis. So, all right, let's just get started. I'm already blabbering too much. I'm just going to show you which shade it is out of the mini palette, and you're going to have to know that it's correlating to the big one too for this eye. So this side here is going to be the mini, and this side here is going to be the large. Okay, so this is stage left. And I'm just gonna start with that really soft, warm, like this warm shade here is the one that I'm starting off with. And I'm just taking that lightly into the crease. Now I'm gonna go into the other palette. Now, this same shade in the larger palette looks a lot warmer in the pan, but let's just see how it appears. No, they look pretty much the same. I apologize if the lighting is a little crappy. It is a super gloomy day. We've got a storm coming in. That was my dog jumping outside. So this one is the new one. This new one feels slightly more hard pressed, and the older palettes, like the original ABH palettes, we all know that the original palettes are known for being super fluffy. So I do see a difference already in the performance as far as that is concerned. Like this one is a lot more pigmented right away, and this other one, I really feel like I'm having to build it up to get it to match. Like I'm going back in with that other brush that has that one. But the new one does look nice. I mean, it's performing lovely. It's just, I do notice a slight bit of a difference in the formula already in that one. Okay, next I'm gonna take this darker shade here, this more cool toned, and we're going to take this in a slightly smokier direction. And to tap it off, I'm going to just take this a little further down into the crease and onto the lid. That is a lot more gray tone than I was thinking. going to mix them and just see how they blend since we're already kind of here doing that. Now I'm taking a clean one into the old shade. And that one is Twig. Okay, so the other one was called Birch. I do like how the older packaging has the names in the front instead of in the back. Like, I don't like that at all. Oh, I like the old, I like the old Twig a lot better. It's just, did you see, like, oh, it's so pigmented. But you know what? I can see how this is a lot harder to work with because it is really pigmented, and like I accidentally got it too far. I don't think I can really do that accidentally over here on this other one. I need to now get it out here in the corner because I did kind of go a little further. Yeah, so this new one is harder pressed. That's what I'm noticing. And the formula just isn't quite as fluffy. So let me see if I can get you some better lighting. Hold on. Here's the eyes. I hope that you can see. Hold on. Okay. I do feel like the old one blends easier, but the new one is like easier to control as far as where it gets placed because it's not as airy and like puffing up when you use it. So, that's kind of interesting. I'm going to take more of that shade Twig all over the lid. Yeah, see, I also feel like it's more pigmented, the older one is. Okay, so here they are on the brushes. This one, the harder pressed one, it's blending fine, it's going on fine, it looks fine, but it doesn't quite have that same like super blendability as the older one does. Oops, I almost touched it with the wrong brush. Almost, but I didn't. See, like, that was my dog. See, like this one, I don't know. It might actually be a nicer formula to work with for the fact that it's less fluffy. But maybe just because I'm so used to the older ABH formulas from before, maybe that's why I'm a little bit like... Maybe that's why I'm a little unsure about whether or not I'm happy about the change. Okay, now I'm going to take this BK Beauty pencil brush. I've got one for each side. I'm going to go into the deep brown, which is called Dystopian. I'm going to do the old Sultry palette first. I'm going to just smoke out this outer edge here. Okay, this is that dark brown in the palette, and this is the older palette, mind you. Okay, so there's the dark brown. Now I'm taking a clean one into the new palette, and I'm going into Dystopian. And let's just see. Yeah, I like the new Dystopian better. The old one kind of gave me fallout like we know we're used to. Lots of fallout already. This one, no fallout. Do you see that? And it blends better. This other one, although it's a little bit more pigmented, it's patchy. It went on a little bit patchy, and this one went on really, really smooth and easy to blend. So that's a plus for sure. Because that makes the deeper shades easier to work with. Did you see how lovely that looks? And I feel like I'm kind of struggling to get it to look that smooth. I'm using the other brush now with the older palette. I feel like I'm struggling to get this side here to look that smooth, and it's a super lot darker and patchier. So, okay. I am getting fallout with the older palette. A lot of fallout. And I'm not getting fallout with the new palette. That's a definite big plus in my book. I hate fallout so much. because I like to do my base first. In my first impressions, I used the silver for the first time. So this time I'm going to use this more like brown gunmetal shade, ember this time on the lid, and then we'll do pearl on the inside. Okay, I'm going to take, I've got a clean shader, and I'm going to start off with the older palette. I'm not taking any special sticky eye base. I'm not taking any glitter glue. I'm not wetting the brush. I'm just touching the palette, and let's just see how this shimmer looks. That's deep and dark, but pretty. It kind of reminds me of a shade that's in the Melt Mary Jane palette. I recently just did a smoky eye look with that. If you missed that video, check down in the description box. I'll have it down there. Okay, so there's this eye with Ember. Now I'm going to use my clean brush and go into the old palette. I've never touched this shade here in the older palette. Look, I've never used Ember. I've never used Ember before. Do you see that? Pretty sure I had never used it in the first one either. Okay, so let's see how that looks on the eye over here with the older formula. Oh, yeah. See, that one is a lot more like impactful, and more creamy, and like it just, I do see a difference, but it's not a big enough difference that I feel like you would notice it in person. I feel like I notice it because I know I did it. I want to do the inner corner. I've got two of these. I've already loaded this one up with Pearl from the new Sultry, the mini. I'm going to put that here and over into the Ember. I just want to brighten up the whole upper lid like that. Okay, now I'm taking the clean brush. Oh, goodness. Okay, taking the one with no product on it. I'm not sure if I can call that clean anymore, so it just fell on the floor. But I'm taking the one that has no eyeshadow on it, and I'm picking up some of the old Pearl, my broken Pearl. It's very broken and chunky, so I can't pick it up and show it to you. Oh, yeah, see, that one is a lot more impactful. It is so much punchier. I have so much payoff right there, and like I could keep going. Look at that. I could keep blending it out. It is so creamy. Do you see that? But this other one, I loaded up the brush twice to even get it to this. Look at that. Let me try to, I'm going to load up the brush again. This is going to be the third time. And I'm doing a big swirl. I'm going like that. Whereas with the older one, I'm just barely touching it like that. And there is such a difference in payoff. Okay, there we go. Second coat in, it is giving me some good payoff. But as you can see, it's not quite as creamy. It doesn't spread as easily. But it does blend into the other shades better than the old one does. Do you see? You can see a very distinguished line where the brush was on that one. And on this one, you can't. It just kind of like blended into the existing shadows. I feel like even though the payoff is a little bit less intense in the new mini Sultry, I do feel like it's a bit of an improvement in the formula because you're not getting all the fallout. You're not having to over blend an area just because it kind of got a little out of control because the formula was so fluffy. Like you're not dealing with that. So I really like that. I'm gonna now take my pencil and just go down into Dystopian and do the lower lash line. Kind of got a little intense because this is a giant brush. It's not a brush I normally use for my lower lash line because I have small eyes and a small eye area. But okay, here's the other one. This one I'm afraid of what's gonna happen because it's like so pigmented. This is the older one. No, that was really nice. Okay. I almost picked up the other pencil. Yeah. So do you see the difference? Like this one is just like such a fluffy formula that it kind of looks a little bit muddy on the edges. Whereas, okay, I just put that brush down, see? This side. Whereas this newer formula, it doesn't look so faded out and fluffy. It stays more where it's placed and it just goes on looking better. You see the difference? I think that the new palette is better than the old palette. Yeah, that's my thoughts based off of this experience today. Okay, so here's the eye look. Let's do a really close look at both eyes. I'm gonna get in really close so that you can see the blendability, the way that the edges look compared to each other. Here's the showdown. Here's the final results. Let me know which eyeshadow look you think turned out better. Which one do you like better? The older palette, lots of fallout, lots of fluffy fallout. Or the newer palette, more harder pressed, less fluffy, still blends really nice. Actually, I feel like the older formula, it was really easy to over blend it. Really, really easy, and really easy to get your look out of control just because it was so fluffy on the brush. This newer formula is slightly harder pressed. It's not as fluffy on your brush, but it is really easy to control the placement of it because of the fact that it's not quite as fluffy. Yeah, so okay. That's really exciting. I'm really glad to know that not only did they bring back the older palettes, but they improved on them. All right, here's the finished look. Let me know, which do you prefer? The old eye? Well, let's not call it that. The original palette eye or the new palette eye? The full size eye or the mini eye? I like that one better. Anyways, okay, so yeah, that's it. That's gonna do it for today's palette showdown. I'm really happy to know that I do like the new palette a lot better as far as the performance is concerned. So that makes me happy. But comment down below. Make sure you comment down below and let me know which eye that you prefer. I hope you enjoyed today's palette showdown. If you did, please be sure to click the like button. It really does help my channel out so much. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.